Oh, there it is. I had switched it on, but good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Senate Environment Committee. The committee is now called to order. Today is February 29th, and we are starting just a little bit behind schedule at 3:06. We do have a quorum, and I believe at least one member joining us remotely as well. First on our agenda today is Senate File 3957. Senator Putnam has joined our committee this afternoon to present his bill. Senator Putnam, we're ready for you if you would join us up at the testifier table. Good afternoon. To your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's nice to see you again. Nice to see everybody here and to have a chance to talk about something that's pretty important to a lot of Minnesotans. What I have to present to you guys today is the colloquially referred to as the Keep It Clean bill. There are other more vulgar ways to refer to it that I would like to use, but out of deference to this august committee, I will not use the word poop. As more Minnesotans go outdoors, we see a lot more people ice fishing. We see a lot more people actually camping on frozen lakes. And when they're camping on frozen lakes, sometimes they're not fully aware of what to do with their refuse. The Keep It Clean initiative here that we're talking about today is a way of performing outreach and providing resources so that our lakes are taken care of, both for our recreation and for the sake of our environment. It's not unlike thinking about how we treat campgrounds. Campgrounds have garbage cans. They have signs that say, take care of your campground. That's in essence all we are asking for in this bill, is to treat spaces that are used for recreation as spaces that are used for recreation. And have some outreach and have some opportunities. I was just talking with a friend about how there has been some outreach in this regard on Red Lake, and that it's been very successful there. Just reminding people where and how they can dispose of their refuse has had a tremendous impact on that specific space, both in terms of its availability for recreation and its consequences for the environment. So, Madam Chair, that's the nature of the bill.
Thank you very much, Senator Putnam. We have a couple of testifiers listed in support of the bill. Should we go ahead and move on to those two testifiers?
Please, Madam Chair.
Thank you. First on our list, we have Ivana Stark. And next on our list, we have Robin Dwight. If both of the testifiers, that person is remote. Okay. Oh, I see that now. Thank you. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, Ms. Stark, at the Senate Environment Committee. If you would please introduce yourself formally, and then we'll look forward to hearing your testimony.
Thank you. Chair McEwen and members of the committee, I'm Ivana Stark, State Director with Clean Water Action Minnesota. We have 132,000 members statewide, and our work really focuses on protecting the water we drink, cook with, and play in. I'm here to speak in support of Senate File 3957, and thank you, Senator Putnam, for bringing this bill forward. As Minnesotans, we pride ourselves on our pristine environments and protecting those areas of our state. We also love our recreation activities in and on our waterways. Unfortunately, there are still people who are not always responsible when cleaning up their mess on the ice, especially when it comes to fishing and other winter water activities. The MPCA estimates 160,000 pounds of trash enter our waterways every year as our lakes thaw, with plastic waste accounting for nearly a third of that total. Further, data collected by Macalester College and Friends of the Mississippi River show that there are nearly 4 pieces of trash on average in every 10 by 10 square of tested metro area lakes. As this trash and plastic break down in our environment, they break down into tiny toxic pieces, most concerning being microplastics. These microplastics are consumed by aquatic wildlife and enter the food and water stream many rely upon in Minnesota. Due to the proliferation of microplastics in our ecosystem, it is currently estimated that the average person ingests 5 grams of microplastic per week. That's the equivalent weight of 1 credit card. We must seriously address the problem of plastic and trash in our environment. Ice fishing and other outdoor winter recreation have changed and modernized, and our statutes need to adapt with those changes. The increased popularity of wheeled and larger ice homes is certainly a benefit and comfort for the ice, but it comes with more responsibility to ensure that trash, plastic, human bio waste, and more aren't going into our water. With the 2023 version of Keep It Clean making it illegal to dump on the ice, it has become clear that additional support is needed to aid with enforcement and education. This bill expands the jurisdictional authority and provides municipal funding assistance via grants to ensure we have boots on the ground that we need to really truly keep it clean. We support this jurisdictional expansion to successfully implement and enforce the 2023 Keep It Clean provisions. I urge this committee to support the passage of Senate File 3957. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Next on our list of testifiers, we have Robin Dwight, who joins us remotely. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, we can hear you very well, and we can also see you when you speak. Your picture shows up on our screen. So if you would please introduce yourself for the record, we look forward to hearing your testimony.
Well, good afternoon, Honorable Chair and committee members. My name is Robin Dwight. I am the president of the Upper Red Lake Area Association here this afternoon on behalf of the Keep It Clean Coalition. The Keep It Clean Coalition is the driving force behind our Keep It Clean legislation prohibiting the placement of garbage and human waste on or under the ice of state waters as the critical first part of protecting Minnesota's ice-covered waters from the leftovers of human activity. Are you able to hear me? I'm sorry.
You're good.
Yes, we can. Sorry. We can hear you. Thank you.
Senator Eric Putnam has chief authored our Keep It Clean program grants bill in the Senate this session. We're very grateful to be working with him and many others on both sides of the aisle to create important legislation that will serve all Minnesotans and protect our state waters. Through the hard work of volunteers and with amazing partnerships, our coalition has attracted members representing thousands of lakes around the state, eager to take on the Keep It Clean challenge. We have shown that our efforts are necessary, but our resources are limited. Minnesotans tell us they need more education and increased resources and better infrastructure to handle the waste products of a growing ice camping and winter angling phenomenon. Although people and their pets can now camp and recreate for extended amounts of time on frozen waters, there is no clear direction for the use of the ice and very few options for safe and legal waste removal on shore. Here is a DNR fisheries graph, I hope, showing the growing disparity between winter and summer anglers over time at Lake of the Woods. I did provide it. Maybe you have it in your packages. As you can see,
we do, just so everybody knows, if you look in your folder, there is this, I believe, is that right? Members, there is a chart. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please continue. Just wanted to make sure everybody saw it.
Oh, yes, thank you. As you can see, the popularity of winter angling is skyrocketing. According to DNR Creel survey data, there were about 65,000 trips to Upper Red Lake last winter. Mille Lacs Lake and Lake of the Woods experienced similar numbers. That translated to over 5 million angler hours from December to February on these 3 lakes alone. We believe a clean ice program modeled after the existing DNR boat and water safety program is the best way to teach the public the importance of caring for the environment and being safe during winter and angling recreation. We also recognize that small communities need incentives and opportunities to build and upgrade winterized human waste removal infrastructure so visitors by the tens of thousands are not overwhelming local services. Please recommend Senate File 3957 for final approval and passage into law this session. Clean ice means clean water. Thank you for your concern and your time today, and I will be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very much for your testimony. And I will note also for anybody watching or listening today, all of these materials are posted online as well, if people want to see them. With that, I don't think we have any other testifiers listed to offer any testimony for this bill, and I will open this up to questions or discussion from members. Members, any questions? Yes, Senator Seeberger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is Bob Meyer still here?
He is, yeah. He was. He offered. There's someone else here from DNR.
So I guess my question was, I don't have a problem with the bill per se, but I know on the back, on the second page at the top, 2.1 to 2.4, there's been problems with having garbage cans at accesses in the past, because what happens, it collects garbage and then it creates more garbage. So that's something we'll have to look at is all I wanted to say. So even like when I worked for DNR, we had the porta potties and they get filled with garbage like every day. So we'll have to do something with that. So we'll have to look at that part of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Wiesenberg. Bob was just here moments ago and stepped out. I'll pass that on to him. We'll have those conversations about your concern. I appreciate it.
Very good. Other members? Yes, Senator Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Putnam, I was reading through your bill, and I noticed that there's a money appropriation, but is there any fiscal note on this yet?
Senator Putnam.
Madam Chair, Senator Green, my understanding is that the dream or the hope for this resource is somewhere around $8 million, but I would note that it is eminently scalable. This is a deeply local kind of investment and concern. So it depends on how much we want to do, is how much we should ask for.
Thank you, Senator Putnam. And I will note, Senator Green, that I had the same question, and I had just asked our fiscal specialist here to, if you have anything you'd like to add for the record, that might be helpful.
Yes, Madam Chair. The way this bill is sort of structured, there's no mandate for a certain level of all these services that are mentioned in Section 1. And Section 2 is a grant program. So essentially, this would be, however much is appropriated would be sort of the level of services that they could offer. Like I said, it's not a mandate to do certain level of, like installing the sanitary dumping stations and all that. It's not requiring it for every public access or anything. It's just saying these are sort of things that can happen under this program.
Thank you very much. Senator Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so Senator Putnam, also, as you already noted, we did pass a bill last year on this. And it seems to me we haven't even given that bill time to work yet. And, I don't even know if I could ask anyone what the outcome was, because we had a real goofy year with bad ice. And so I don't know if it would be accurate to even try to see if there was any real changes in what was going on. I think we all are aware of the problems on the ice, and I think we all want to fix them. But I think your bill is jumping the gun a little bit, because you don't know what it's going to cost. I think it's going to cost probably a little more than $8 million if you're going to do it all over on all of our lakes. I don't even know if you could get the big lakes for that. And I would really like to see if the existing new law that we passed is actually going to make a difference, because I believe it will. And so I would rather hold off on spending money and creating a new program when we don't know if we even need it yet.
Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Green, for your concern. My understanding is that we have a precipitous increase in the utilization of these spaces. So the problem is getting worse. You're right. We came up with an idea for a solution, but one of the challenges we have in government in general is making sure that the solutions actually do work. And in their prior solution, we were inadequate in supporting outreach and public communication and public awareness of these programs. And I'll refer back to what we mentioned earlier. This isn't necessarily an $8 million bill, because it depends on what level of resource or what level of activity each individual municipality would like to undertake. So I appreciate your concern that this might not be enough for even some of our bigger lakes, but if we do less at every single lake, this is a first step in the right direction to making people more aware of the nature of the problem, the consequences of the problem, and simple ways to fix it.
Thank you, Senator Green, for the discussion, and Senator Putnam. And I will note that we are going to put in for a fiscal note, so we have a sense of cost. Also, and this bill is set to be laid over. Yes, Senator, go ahead.
Thank you. I just have one question. I think it'll tie into the fiscal note, actually. In reading through some of this, there will be some local impact. So I'm hoping in the fiscal note we could get the local impact as well. I do believe either our county, our sheriff's departments, or local police departments may end up with some cost in that, and I think it'd be helpful to know that. There is a problem, for sure, and I think this helps to go address it. I think you're taking the right approach in the education approach. Mm-hmm. I think that's definitely the best first step, so I appreciate the approach you're taking, but I'm just hoping in the fiscal note we can get that local impact, because I do believe there is going to be some cost to our local law enforcement departments.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Senator Putnam.
Madam Chair, Senator Eichorn, thank you for that, for raising that concern. I think that's one of my hopes with this bill, is that it will be deeply locally oriented, and that particular municipalities or law enforcement agencies who have those concerns can apply for the grants and take care of those problems. This is not a big brush coming from St. Paul cleaning off every lake. This is helping people in their individual communities get the resources that they need to take care of their own spaces.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Eichorn. Anybody else have any comment or question? Okay. Thank you very much, Senator Putnam, for bringing this bill. I'm a co-author, and obviously I'm very supportive of the bill, and I like to see this coordination between our local municipalities, cities, and our state government to be able to make sure to get the word out about this, too. A lot of this is about education. So, you know, some people are coming out who haven't participated in this tradition before, so it's good to make sure that people know what's expected in best practice and what we want. So, yeah, thank you very much, Senator Putnam. The bill, Senate File 3957, is laid over. Oh, okay. Is he going to do it? Okay. And hello. Next on our list of bills is Senate File 3808, and I believe that we have Senator Hoffman standing in for Senator, no? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Senator Hoffman. I was under a misimpression of what we were doing. We are looking at Senate file. We are skipping the second bill on our list, and we are, for now, we'll come back to that. We are moving to Senate File 3963, which is Senator Hoffman's bill. Senator Hoffman, to your bill.
Madam Chair and members, you know, when the gales in November come early, they do come early, and today that's what happens.
We know that well, yes.
We got it. Madam Chair and members, citizen oversight of the Game and Fish Fund has been required in Minnesota statute since 1994. The current citation is Minnesota Statute 97A.055, Subdivision 4B. These citizen committees conduct oversight, write an annual report on the Minnesota Game and Fish Fund, the most important fund for delivering fisheries and wildlife management and natural resources law enforcement. The Fisheries Oversight Committee, FOC, reviews fisheries funding and expenditures, including activities related to trout and salmon stamps and walleye stamps. And I have a silver salmon on my wall that was given from Doug Johnson to Tom Bach. So apparently it's supposed to go to a guy named Senator Grant Hauschild next. So it's there. But then you also have the Wildlife Oversight Committee, WOC, reviews wildlife funding and expenditures, including activities related to the migratory waterfowl, pheasant, wild turkey, deer, and big game management. An Umbrella Budget Oversight Committee, BOC, so now we got 3 acronyms we're throwing at you, addresses matters of common concern and merges all drafts into a final joint oversight report. The report is delivered to the DNR Commissioner and the legislative committees with jurisdiction over natural resources, finance, and policy. With me today is we have, well, Bob Meyer's not here, but Pat Rivers, the Deputy Director for Fish and Wildlife, is here as well as Jess Paulson, who is the Budget Oversight Committee of the BOC and the DNR. So with that, Madam Chair, I give you our 2 experts.
Thank you very much, Senator Hoffman. And I believe you also have an author's amendment. Would you like to take care of that now?
I do not have a notation of an A. Was there an A1
I have an
that was
A3
pronounced? Mr.
author's
Stanley?
amendment. Would you like us to give you a copy, Senator?
Yeah, let me, if I recall. Oh, yeah, that was the dates. I got that, yeah.
You have it?
I don't need to see it, that's fine. But
Okay.
yeah, now I'm with it. So yeah, the A1 amendment, I'd like to
A3.
move the A3. I'd like to move the A3 amendment.
Okay, thank you, Senator Hoffman. Members, this is an author's amendment, the A3 amendment. Senator Hoffman moves that we adopt the A3 amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The amendment is adopted. And then on to our testifiers. We have, first, we'll start with Pat Rivers. Hello. Welcome to the Senate Environment Committee. If you'd introduce yourself for the record, we look forward to your testimony.
Madam Chair, members, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Pat Rivers. I'm the Deputy Director for the Division of Fish and Wildlife at the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. As Senator Hoffman noted, the Game and Fish Fund has been overseen by the Citizens Oversight Committee since 1994. Over the past year, the DNR has worked with committee members to envision a new approach for this group, one that makes a better use of their volunteers' time they invest in the committee's work. The three primary changes being proposed include merging the three oversight committees mentioned into one Fish and Wildlife Advisory Committee. Second, the group will be producing an annual committee report with alternating focus. In even-numbered years, the focus will be on a biennial budget proposal that supports desired outcomes from game and fish expenditures. In odd-numbered years, the focus will be on improving alignment between expenditures and outcomes related to protecting habitat, fish and wildlife population management, monitoring, and research. The final change is in holding an annual meeting for the public to provide comments for the committee to consider when making the report recommendations. This is a great addition to the charge of the advisory committee in bringing more public into the process. And with me today is Jess Paulson, and she is the Budget Oversight Committee Chair, and I'll turn it over to her.
Good, thank you for your testimony. Ms. Paulson, welcome to the Senate Environment Committee. If you'd please introduce yourself, and then we look forward to your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon. My name is Jess Paulson. I am the Chair of the Budget Oversight Committee, and well, we'll get to it. So I felt drawn to be a member of this advisory committee because my passion is to educate about the awe of nature and to be a guide for students to become better informed citizens and stewards of the land. I am an avid outdoorswoman with over 10 years as a seasonal wildland firefighter. I'm a mom of a rambunctious 5-year-old who is becoming quite the little outdoorsman himself. And I'm also a middle and high school science teacher at Terra Nova, formerly the Jane Goodall Environmental Sciences Academy. We're an award-winning public charter school that cultivates environmental stewardship and innovation. When I received the call following my application in 2021, I was excited that I would be able to use my variety of lenses to assist in guiding this committee. As a science teacher, I always lean on the data that can help explain the what and the why. Well, the what and the why of this committee is we are a group of citizens that collectively conducts annual reviews of the state's Game and Fish Fund. This fund finances fish and wildlife management and conservation law enforcement. As a citizen committee, we provide recommendations to the legislature and the commissioner for desired outcomes related to protecting habitat, fish and wildlife population management, research practices, equitable engagement, and management and use of money within the fund. As you all know, Minnesota is renowned for its breathtaking landscapes, pristine lakes, and abundant wildlife. As citizens who are deeply invested in the well-being of our state, we understand the importance of safeguarding these treasures for future generations. This advisory and/or oversight committee stands as a testament to our shared commitment to responsible stewardship. You might like hiking a trail, roasting a marshmallow, knocking an arrow, casting a fly, or my personal favorite, paddling in the wilderness. In the next few minutes, I'm going to highlight the critical role this committee plays in collaboration with our state agency, emphasizing outcomes that align our interests with the conservation and preservation of Minnesota's many natural resources. This committee doesn't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. We are citizens like you, with a shared passion for the beauty that surrounds us. We've successfully bridged the gap between the government and the people, ensuring that every citizen has a say in the decisions that impact our natural heritage. By actively involving ourselves in the conservation and preservation of our state's resources, we become advocates for the voiceless, the wildlife, and the ecosystems that make Minnesota truly extraordinary. This is not just about policy. Our committee outcomes are a testament to our commitment to ensuring that our natural resources remain a source of pride, inspiration, and enjoyment for current and future generations. Our collaborative efforts are essential in shaping the destiny of our great state. It is also essential to recognize the dedication of the individuals who make up this committee. As citizens, we bring diverse perspectives, experiences, and expertise to the table. Our joint efforts have resulted in tangible outcomes, such as the needed facility updates to existing fish hatcheries, the implementation of sustainable hunting practices, and bringing attention to the importance of recreation, education, and outreach. We have the flexibility to work innovatively and creatively to come up with forward-focused ideas that align with stakeholders across the state. As I conclude, I want to leave you with this thought. This committee is not merely a committee, it's a symbol of unity, collaboration, and dedication. The drafted bill changes that are being requested were developed collaboratively to address the committee members' input. Let us continue to work together, hand in hand with our state's natural resource agency, to preserve Minnesota's natural environment for generations to come. Our clear and concise outcomes are the legacy we leave for the future, a legacy of responsible stewardship, vibrant ecosystems, and a state that continues to inspire. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Senator Hoffman, would you like to, that concludes the testimony, I believe. Would you like to say any words before we move to discussion?
Absolutely. This proposal, Madam Chair and members, comes to us from the DNR. It's an agency initiative, and the goal is to refresh and consolidate the three agencies, those three committees, the Fisheries Oversight, Wildlife Oversight, and Budget Oversight Committee, into one unified Fish and Wildlife Advisory Committee. That's all they're doing here on that one. So that's been, like Jess had said, been identified by certain committee members on that, and what you got is you had universal acceptance across the board. So with that, we will absolutely, I'll let Bob Meyer come up here if anybody got any questions for the
Very
Deputy
good.
Commissioner or me or whatever. So thank
All
you,
right.
Madam Chair, for this. And I think the disposition of this is just to lay this over. Is that correct? Or do I get to go to the floor with it?
I have it that it's going to be re-referred to state and local gov.
Oh, all right. So you got a couple more stops. Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, with that, members, any questions or discussions for our bill author or testifiers? Yes, Senator Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the author of the bill. When I read through this bill, a couple of things that I did wonder about, and Commissioner Myers did answer some of my questions. I appreciate that. But we're actually lowering the number of members on this from 25 to 15. That could be good or bad, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But the question that I did have is, it seems like we're opening this up a little more than I would be comfortable with, because when the commissioner appointed before, there were guidelines and from the oversight committee, and so they had specialties, whether it was fish and game or wildlife oversight. And so now it looks like it's just open, and the 15 members can be appointed with no expertise, I suppose, and also the chair and the vice chair are also appointed by the commissioner. So is there a reason for not wanting to pick from certain specialists?
Senator Hoffman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm going to go to the Assistant Commissioner. I do know that, the statutory requirement's been revised in the past, 2001 and 2011, but Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, for the record, Bob Meyer, Assistant Commissioner, Department of Natural Resources. And thank you, Senator Green, for those questions. If I may, if you look at the language on lines 1.7, it says a committee of at least 15 people. So there may be more people on there. Right now, if you look at the stricken language on page 2, it establishes the Fisheries Oversight Committee, the Budget Oversight, Fisheries Oversight Committee, the Wildlife Oversight Committee, and then the Budget Oversight Committee. And there's other language in there. The chair was always appointed by the commissioner, so just some of those questions there. As far as minimum requirements, we require members to have purchased a hunting or a fishing license. So they are actively involved in the Game and Fish Fund themselves. And many of those people have expertise or multiple hobbies, whatever you want to call passions that they pursue. So I think Chairwoman Paulson could identify everybody on those committees have a strong background in natural resources or fish and wildlife, whatever you want to call it. So looking at that, I think that's addressed. What we're asking to do, and actually it came out of a recommendation in the 2022 report from the Budget Oversight Committee, is help clarify and affirm their roles and what they're actually doing, giving them an opportunity to actively review and participate in our budget development, which we start. I have a meeting coming up the middle of March on how the department's going to set the timeline and schedule for us to develop a biennial budget recommendation to get to the governor by the middle of September approximately, which then is submitted to you all in January, so they can be involved in the upfront development of that in the even-numbered years. In the odd-number years, it will give them an opportunity to establish their priorities to focus on and come back with policy recommendations. So my hope is that this isn't the first time you see a chairperson from the Budget Oversight Committee in this committee testifying on issues. We would like to make that a regular part of our legislative activities. So we're trying to do that as well. Streamline, make it more effective, looking at where we talk about on lines 1.11, review the annual outcomes, so a backwards look. And then 1.12 to 1.13, make recommendations for desired outcomes, which should be a forward look. So trying to tie budget and actual budget outcomes together, I think it's going to really make this group more effective. It clearly identifies their roles and responsibilities, and it adds a lot of value to the department's recommendations, I believe. So.
Thank you. Senator Green, follow-up? Nope, that's good, thanks. Okay, very good. Yeah, Senator Wiesenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I kind of have the same question that he did. Maybe I'll expand on it a bit more. I'd like to see, more probably professional people that are on the committee, so we don't, and I know you said people have a background in whatever, but I'd like to see a science type person or a biologist or a professor in biology, or like you're a scientist, or a teacher, a science teacher, right? So we're actually using the science and maybe not as much as a philosophy type thing for where we're going. So I'm not a big fan of these committees. I want to see the scientists we hire for the DNR. We hire a big game specialist, we hire fishery specialists, we hire biologists, we hire wildlife managers, and I feel like that's their job, and that's their job to do these things. Now it's good to get some input, but I want to weight it. It should be weighted towards the science and not just total philosophy and things. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any response from our author and test?
We were just laughing. Thank you, Madam Chair, Senator Wiesenberg. When I was on the LCCMR, we used to laugh about Bill Faber, who was the moose expert, right? I mean, you had these people that were sitting there, and I said to Bob, there's the experts. He goes, oh yeah, there's lots of experts on there. You might want to talk about the different kind of expertise that are sitting on that committee, on the committees.
Madam Chair, Senator Wiesenberg, Senator Hoffman, thank you. There are a broad range of expertise on these committees. I think it's important to realize these are volunteers, and they meet at night during the week. It's a little bit easier now that we have a virtual world that we operate in as well, but previous to that, it was always in person. And we strive to get as diverse of a background of membership as possible. That's one of the concerns we had, having those two big groups and then another smaller group, is how do we get the group to represent how Minnesota looks today, that it's representing our stakeholders, our licensed buyers, not only in person, but also in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, and along with that comes expertise. Many people on there do come out and want to volunteer in and above their current activities, but some people just don't have the time. So we can work with you on, maybe there's some tweaking of language on requirements or something like that, but we are so appreciative of the work that we've had. We've had Rick Horton in the crowd, was a previous president or chairman back in the early 2000s. So there's been a lot of people. Joe Dugan was a previous chair of this committee for several terms. So trying to get our expertise there is really important, but also make sure it's flexible enough to allow people to participate.
Thank you. Any follow-up, Senator Wiesenberg? Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments or questions with regard to the bill? All right. Senator Hoffman, would you like to move that Senate File 3963 as amended be recommended to pass and re-referred to the Senate State and Local Government Committee?
That's exactly what I wrote down here, Madam Chair. So moved.
All right. Members, on Senator Hoffman's motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. The motion prevails. Thank you very much, Senator and testifiers. All right, we're going back in our agenda, one to Senate File 3808, which is a bill that Senator Kupec brings to us. Good afternoon, Senator Kupec. Welcome to the Senate Environment, Climate, and Legacy Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Before we proceed to the content of the bill, I believe you have an A1 author's amendment. Would you like to handle that from the get-go, and that's posted online and it's in members' packets
Sure,
as
unless,
well.
as long as you could indulge me with one question first. If I were to plug in my computer here, could I pull up one thing on the screen if that plugs in?
Absolutely, Senator Kupec, yeah. Wait for your sec. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Is that here, or there, or there? If it plugs in, there it goes. Okay, thanks. So I have the A1 amendment is an author's amendment, and after consulting with the senator who represents Olmsted County, they had requested that Olmsted County be removed from this bill. This was a similar motion that happened on the floor last year when we also brought this bill up as being amended onto the omnibus bill last year too, and we took that as a friendly amendment last year. Ideally, I would prefer that the whole state was included, but even if we take out this one county, we're going to take a huge step forward, I think, with this bill.
Thank you, Senator Kupec. I would also prefer that it include the whole state, but out of deference to you in the process that you're working on this bill for, I'm going to stand with you here, and I would like to move that the A1 amendment to Senate File 3808 be adopted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. All right, the amendment is adopted. To your bill.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. And if I could just bring up a computer screen up on the monitor up there, if that would be possible.
Yes, here, let's make sure we got it here.
Sure, I plugged into the right plug. Did I plug into the wrong plug?
Potentially here.
Potentially.
Take a look. Yeah, we're going to have this.
Sure. So many wires, so little time. Perfect. All right.
All right, there we go.
Very good. All right. The reason that last year I signed on this bill, and the reason that I'm carrying this bill is right now across the state, you can use rifles north of a very strange line that is drawn through there, but south of that line, rifles are not permitted. And in my district, that line, if you can see right up there, the little cursor, comes right up, splits the city of Barnesville on I-94, then takes a right over State Route 34, then heads up State Route 32 to the Norman County line, and then crosses to the west to North Dakota, which means in a very slim slice of the eastern part of Clay County that I represent most of, you could use a rifle. The rest of it you could not. And then on Barnesville, all you'd have to do is if you cross the highway, you could use a rifle, but on the south side of the interstate, you could not. So it's a line that through much of the center parts of the state is hard to figure out, and also just not very contiguous. So particularly in my district, I've had a lot of constituents reach out, and this is a change that they would really like to see made. So I'm also grateful Senator Drazkowski is here. He's going to testify today. He is also on this bill, Senator Hauschild, as well as Senator Howe. So it is a bipartisan move, and the DNR supports this too, as well, to see this change made to have rifles put down into the southern part of the state. And really, since, as time has evolved, things have gotten safer in the use of rifles and different from shotguns, and so it is less of a concern, I think, and more, it would just make it a lot more easier for hunters to understand what guns they can use in which part of the state they are. So Senate File 38 will allow legal firearms to be used statewide, except for Olmsted County, which we exempted, thereby eliminating the shotgun-only zone, would require the DNR to report back to the legislature as to the effect of this legislation on deer hunting season and deer populations. So with that, Madam Chair, I would like to turn over to a couple of my testifiers. We have Mr. Jared Mazurek. He is Executive Director of the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, and also Senator Drazkowski is also going to speak.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Senator Kupec. I do have Mr. Mazurek listed first in our testifiers, so I'll just go down the list. Welcome to the Senate Environment Committee. If you'd please introduce yourself for the record, and we look forward to your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jared Mazurek. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association. We represent roughly 20,000 members, supporters throughout the state of Minnesota. And our members have voted and feel that the shotgun zone, the elimination of the shotgun zone is long overdue. We've really only heard two arguments against this bill. The first is that that changing to all legal firearms statewide would drastically increase deer harvest, negatively impacting our deer herd. And the second is that it would increase hunting accidents, firearms-related hunting accidents. However, if we look at the data, Wisconsin in 2013 made the shift from their shotgun-only zones to all legal firearms statewide. With that change, with the 5 years prior to making the change to statewide rifle, there was actually a higher deer harvest in the state of Wisconsin than the 5 years after making that change. So I think the deer harvest argument is negligible. On top of that, if we look at the safety concerns, again, when Wisconsin switched to all legal firearms statewide, there was no increase in firearms-related hunting accidents. To be honest, most firearms hunting accidents are contributed to the firearm carrier themselves due to poor firearm safety protocols. So, again, we feel that we should go to all legal firearms statewide. It's not going to have any negative impacts on our deer herd. It's not going to have any negative impacts on hunter safety. And I believe that the elimination of the shotgun zone is, in essence, an exercise in equity in accessing the outdoors and the tradition of hunting in the state of Minnesota. If young hunters don't have the budget to purchase more than one firearm, they should be able to choose one firearm that will allow them to be able to be successful, whether they're hunting on their family's farm in the southern part of Minnesota, or they're hunting public lands in northern Minnesota, or maybe, like myself, they were on an elk hunt in the western U.S. I was once that young hunter, and my opportunities were limited as a result of the firearm that I chose to purchase. I would hate to see that continue to be a tradition in the state. We pride ourselves on the outdoors, on environment, on getting youth involved in the tradition of deer hunting and wildlife and habitat conservation in general. So I urge you to pass Senate File 3808 and allow universal access to our great tradition of Minnesota deer hunting. And we have nothing to lose by passing this legislation and a lot to gain. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. All right, next on our list, we have Senator Drazkowski. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Senator. And you've kind of already been introduced, but go ahead and introduce yourself for the record, and we look forward to your testimony.
Senator Steve Drazkowski, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Senator Kupec, for bringing this bill. Senator Kupec and I have been working on this for the last year plus. I actually introduced Senate File 314 last session, and we have this bill providing some more energy behind this effort, Madam Chair and members. So I'm grateful that you're hearing this bill today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about safety. And one of the misnomers in Minnesota among some of our people are, I think, really corrected by some of the information. I've handed 3 handouts to you. The first one is a publication put together by the Pennsylvania General Assembly. It's a thick packet. If you turn to page 43, members, on that, you'll see in the third paragraph, and I'm going to read it to you. This was commissioned by the equivalent of the House of Representatives in the state of Pennsylvania in 2007. It's the only study that I am aware of, and I have worked with nonpartisan staff in both the House and the Senate over the years to try to find everything we can on this topic. And this is really the nuts and bolts science, ballistic comparison between saboted slugs and rifle projectiles. So I'm going to read it. It's just a couple of sentences. It says, shotguns firing modern sabot slugs have a larger danger area than the .30-06 rifle when the angle of elevation is approximately level. Members, that's 0 degrees when you're pointing at a target with your rifle or shotgun, at level with the ground. Hence, given this firing condition, the shotgun is riskier than the rifle. In other words, the typical hunter discharging a 12-gauge shotgun fitted with a rifled barrel firing a 50 caliber saboted modern high-velocity ammunition at a deer on level terrain is riskier than a hunter firing a .30-06 with a 150 grain expanding bullet at the very same deer. And that is the ballistic, engineering approach or question. It's really the only research we know of about the safety. And it says when you're deer hunting, Madam Chair, members, it says that actually rifles are safer. Going back to what the Minnesota deer hunter testifier said, looking at one of the other publications I handed out to you is a 2022 Hunter Education Annual Report from the Wisconsin DNR. If you turn to page 16, and I think I had it tabbed for you, you will see there they say and really talk about the 4 different important pieces of firearm safety. And as a former Minnesota DNR firearm safety instructor myself, when my daughter was firearm safety age, I can tell you these, and this is exactly what's trained to our youth in Minnesota as well. And they talk about always identifying your target, what is before it and beyond it. Having a safe zone of fire and safe backstops are equally as important as knowing your target. Members, when you have a scope on a rifle, you can see the target, the backstop, and what's in front of the target many times better than you can with an iron sight on the end of a shotgun barrel. If you turn to page 17, you will see the statistics that the gentleman talked about. 2013 is when their law went into effect where they allowed it statewide. Actually, I hunt and have since I was 12 years old in Wisconsin, and I can tell you they had headed in this direction progressively over time, and then 2013 it went completely statewide to allow rifles statewide. And you can see we are at the lowest point of incidences in the state of Wisconsin in their history of doing this report. If you turn to page 18, you can see total hunting incidents since 2013 have decreased on a trend line there on top of the page. On the bottom page 28 or page 18, you'll see the total incidents per 100,000 hunters, also diminishing with a very similar curve. And members, that part is really highlighted in page 22, where they talk about 1967 in Wisconsin, their hunting education program started. 264 incidents in 1966. In 2022, the lowest in their history, 12 incidents in the state of Wisconsin. And lastly, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel article you'll see there, as they were in discussion about transitioning over to allowing rifles statewide in the state of Wisconsin in 2013. You'll see there on the third paragraph down or so, in 2023 or 2003, in a DNR survey, 76% of Wisconsin hunters then used a rifle and 24% used a shotgun. Okay? And the data obtained during 1998 to 2008 showed 42% of the shooting incidents in that state during that time period involved shotguns. So nearly twice as many of a percent of the injuries were from shotguns as the use of shotguns themselves in the state of Wisconsin in that time period. That's instructive for us, and Senator Kupec, I'm hopeful that we can remove your amendment. I've been in discussion with the Olmsted County Sheriff and am currently in discussion with their county board members. Madam Chair, I'm sharing this information with them and also with Dodge County. I would like to see, and I think probably many in this room would like to see, the hunters in the state of Minnesota be able to use the firearm that is the safest firearm for them to be able to use to hunt deer in this state, and we certainly don't want Olmsted County to be left out. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Drazkowski, for your testimony in support of the bill. Are there any other testifiers for the bill? Yes. Welcome to the Senate Environment Committee. If you'd please introduce yourself for the record, and then we look forward to your testimony.
Madam Chair, members, Pat Rivers from the Minnesota DNR. Pat Rivers, Deputy Director for the Division of Fish and Wildlife at the Minnesota DNR. Thank you for the chance to testify on this bill. The origin of limiting deer hunters to the use of shotguns goes back to 1942, when deer populations were starting to recover from overharvest. Restricting hunters to shotguns with limited range was one way to protect deer in an open agricultural landscape. Today's deer population management relies on limiting what hunters can harvest, and the need to restrict how is not necessary. Modern shotguns and muzzleloaders, which are allowed in the shotgun zone, especially with the addition of a scope and improved ballistics, are effective at longer ranges than shotguns of just a few years ago. Handguns are legal for deer hunting statewide, and some of those handguns are capable of shooting rifle cartridges. Currently, hunters can use rifles statewide to hunt coyote and fox. We've heard a lot about safety, and I'll just share a couple statistics from Minnesota. Over the last 2 years, there have been 4 gun-related accidents in deer hunting seasons, and 2 of them were by shotgun and 2 by rifle. Hunting is a very safe sport, and it continues to be that way. Finally, the DNR can manage deer populations with whatever restrictions are defined in statute. We hope any changes provide consistent approach and consider the views of hunters and non-hunters alike. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. All right, members, I'd like to go ahead and open it up for any questions or discussions about the bill. And does anybody have anything? Looks like we've covered it. I'm not seeing any discussion. With that, Senator Kupec, any last words? This bill is going to be laid over for possible inclusion, but so there's not going to be a vote, but would you like to add any, leave us with some last words?
Sure. First of all, I just want to thank the testifiers. Also, thank you to Senator Drazkowski, who's been a great partner on working for this bill. And it will be nice to get this change made and add some clarity and the DNR support. It should move forward and be a good bill. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kupec, and thank you, testifiers. All right. With that, Senate File 3808, as amended, will be laid over for possible inclusion in the omnibus bill. Next on our list is Senate File 4038, which is Senator Hauschild's bill. Good afternoon to your bill, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Environment Committee. Today I have for your consideration Senate File 4038, a bill that changes data classifications to allow businesses to more completely answer survey data. The idea here is that this information is voluntarily collected from forestry and other timber-related industry members' businesses. And because that information is publicly available, there's a disincentive for them to provide that data to the DNR and to the agency. So we're looking for a way to keep that data private so that it encourages the collection of information in the industry. But with that, I will pass it to my testifiers to really explain and dive in on this technical bill for me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator. First on our list of testifiers, we have John Drimmel. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Drimmel, yes, ma'am.
Drimmel. Welcome to the Senate Environment Committee. If you'd please introduce yourself formally for the record, we'll look forward to your testimony. And make sure you lean in a little bit just so that the mic catches your voice enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. John Drimmel, Forest Operations Section Manager, DNR Forestry. So in my section, we cover everything from inventory to timber sales, planting trees, and tending them back to growth, as well as utilization and marketing. So that program each year, well, actually nationwide, the Forest Service conducts surveys on wood use in the United States. In Minnesota, it's our utilization and marketing program that works with the Forest Service to do these surveys to Minnesota forest products companies, a subset of them each year, to understand the wood use in Minnesota. That data is aggregated into a report that's made publicly. We've currently taken on more responsibility to collect additional information. The pulp and paper mills now will be collected by DNR instead of Forest Service, for instance. That gives us better or quicker access to that data and produce that report quickly. In the report shows forest resource conditions, so like acres of forest, forest age classes, and ownership, as well as how much wood is harvested each year in Minnesota. This information helps businesses know where to invest in Minnesota, and helps agencies ensure sustainable forest management. It relates directly to our forest planning efforts. Some businesses worry that if they share information with DNR, others can find out and a competitor can gain an advantage. This becomes a barrier for some as they may not respond to the survey or may not answer the questions fully. This legislation would make sure that individual mill information is not public. It would give that business confidence to answer the survey questions completely and increase the response rate from those businesses. The resulting information would be more accurate and provide more reliable forest resources and industry data, and allow state and local governments, research institutions, and business owners to make better decisions. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next on our list, we have Rick Horton. Welcome to the Senate, our Senate Environment Committee. I'm used to saying Labor Committee. Welcome. If you'd please introduce yourself for the record, and we look forward to your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Rick Horton. I'm the Executive Vice President of Minnesota Forest Industries. MFI is a trade association for the mills in the state that make paper products and construction materials out of trees, items that all of you use every single day. You know, we as a trade association, by our very nature, we're bringing together competitors within the industry to work on common issues of mutual benefit like public relations, outreach type efforts, legislative efforts, and things like that. But when we get together, we have to be very cautious about the things we talk about. Antitrust is very serious for us. Every meeting starts with an antitrust statement, and we do not share data individually. Giving someone a competitive advantage in this highly competitive industry would be very bad. So our mills would not answer this survey if they did not know that their data was being protected and only shared in aggregate. You know, we look at the whole picture and then people can make decisions about resource allocations and what's available for expansions and new builds and things like that. So we support the bill and we hope that you will too. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. That's all I have listed for testifiers. And with that, I'll go ahead and open it up for questions or discussions for our bill author and testifiers. Members, are there any questions? Is there any discussion? All right. I am not seeing any. I have a quick question for you, actually, seeing that there's not. About how many mills, when we're talking about the different entities that are going to be sharing this information, how many are we talking about?
So, Madam Chair, this is the Timber Products Output Survey that the DNR coordinates. So my membership, we have 9 of the larger primary wood-consuming mills, but then there are hundreds of small sawmills out there that the DNR reaches out to. Okay. So it goes much farther than just my membership. Very good. Thanks. That's helpful. I appreciate that. All right. Well, not seeing any questions or discussion. Senator Hauschild, would you like to leave us with the last word before moving your bill?
No, Madam Chair. Thank you so much. This is a good bill, and it makes a lot of sense.
Very good. All right, would you like to move that Senate File 4038 be recommended to pass and be re-referred to the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you.
Members, on Senator Hauschild's motion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, the motion passes. You're on your way to Judiciary. Thank you. All right, for this afternoon, for the last bill on our agenda, we have Senate File 3882, which is a bill that Senator Eichorn brings to the committee.
We'll see you there. Madam Chair, thank you for having me to the Environment and Labor Committee.
Hey, you know, we combine them all, right?
We all have those Freudian slips.
Right, right.
Madam Chair, I would like to start out, if I could, with an author's amendment.
Very good.
I did not have one pre-prepared.
Okay.
But in consultation with the sheriffs and both the DNR, there's one section we'd like to take out. We share some concern about lines 2.5 through 2.9, which could create a personal liability section for folks being rescued, where they would end up having to pay for their rescue. There's some concern amongst interested parties that believe that if an individual is worried that they might have to pay for a rescue, they might just not call, which could obviously result in larger harm to human life. So we want to remove that piece so that way there isn't that barrier for people kind of hanging out there. So my author's amendment would be to remove lines 2.5 through 2.9.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and have our council repeat the amendment so that it's clear on the record. After you.
Madam Chair, members, the amendment is just to delete all of Section 1 because the only changes in that section are to the lines that Senator Eichorn is mentioning. So the amendment would be on page 1 to delete Section 1.
Okay, very good. So really, the amendment makes it so that the bill now that we're looking at for consideration today starts at what we have before us as line 2.10. It looks like. Okay. All right. Members, are we clear on that? Senator Eichorn, would you like to go ahead and move that your amendment be adopted?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Eichorn. On Senator Eichorn's motion to amend Senate File, here's my number, 3882 as described. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, the amendment is adopted. Senator Eichorn, to your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to present Senate File 3882. I'd like to start off by thanking my co-sponsors, Senator Hauschild, Morrison, and Farnsworth. The bill, now in its current form, would simply provide relief to local sheriff's departments that do have to do search and rescues. Currently, it is the practice that if a sheriff's department has to do a water rescue, they end up getting a reimbursement on that. And when we had heard when a sheriff's department did an ice rescue, they don't have that same benefit of allowing their department to get reimbursed for those costs. So we wanted to bring parity there. Our understanding as to why that is the money that comes for a water rescue is federal money. So this would obviously be a state pot of money. That's why you see a blank appropriation in the bill, and as we know now, we got a little bit of money. Hopefully there's a target, so I am appreciative to Senator Herr for at least hearing the bill and giving us the opportunity to lay it over so we can discuss this important issue to help out our sheriff's departments all throughout the state. But we have seen this issue recently in years past. And in speaking with the DNR, we are working on that fiscal note to determine what is that appropriate number, so that way when the chair gets to that point where he's putting his proposal together, we're hopefully able to plug in a number there that makes sense for the DNR and our sheriff's departments throughout our state. So with that, if I could, I would like to invite up our two testifiers, the Cass County and St. Louis County sheriffs, to testify on the bill.
Very good. Yes, thank you, Senator. Good afternoon, sheriffs, and welcome to the Senate Environment, Climate, and Legacy Committee. It's good to have you here. First of all, on our list, we have Sheriff Wilk of Cass County. Welcome. If you would please introduce yourself formally for the record, we look forward to hearing your testimony on the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Committee. My name is Brian Welcome, the Sheriff with Cass County Sheriff's Office up in north central Minnesota. Can you hear me? Just go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You ready for me to go? I'm passionate about this. I think it's a common sense bill, and I'm here to share a personal story that I had December 28th of 2023. We had a request for our dive team to come and be used in Lake of the Woods County to recover a person that had drowned in the Lake of the Woods. We went up there, did our work. We came back, and I had reached out to the DNR, and I knew that there was a fund for search and rescues above and beyond your budget. So I had asked about using that money and said we'd love to, but it only is for open water, not for ice rescues. So that didn't make sense. So I don't think it was any intention, just as oversight and things that have happened, and then, like you said, the federal money. So that has been my goal, is to get this changed so that all 87 counties have an opportunity when mutual aid is requested or above and beyond with an ice rescue. As you've seen this year, it's been a different year. You know, not every year is like this year, but certainly I've seen the toll that takes on a sheriff's office. So we want to be able to offer the mutual aid and be a partner there. So appreciate your time and hearing our testimony.
Thank you for your testimony. And we also have here Sheriff Ramsey of St. Louis County. Welcome, Sheriff. If you could please introduce yourself. We look forward to your testimony as well.
Sure. Hi, Madam Chair. Gordon Ramsey. I'm the St. Louis County Sheriff. Thank you for allowing us an opportunity just to share a quick story and ask for your support with this. You know, St. Louis County, given our land mass and amount of water, we frequently lead the state in number of ice rescues. Oftentimes, we assist other counties as well with our search and rescue. We have over 100 volunteers that are called out on a frequent basis. Most ice rescues are very simple. For instance, a recent one was a male that was going through the ice, hanging on to a four-wheeler with a strap. Turns out, as we gathered more information and everybody was responding, he was actually holding on to the four-wheeler, literally holding on to the four-wheeler to prevent the four-wheeler from going into the ice. So that is, those are some common things that we deal with. But this is important. They do come at a cost. You know, the best thing for me with this, having been a chief or sheriff now for 18 years, is the bipartisan support. It's heartwarming to see, and I really hope we can get this through, and appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Those are the only testifiers we have listed for the bill today. Before we turn it over to any discussion or questions, Senator Eichorn, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
Okay. Members, any comments or questions to this bill? Yes, Senator Hauschild.
Thanks, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Eichorn, for bringing this forward. You know, I just want to say out loud, having Morrison, Eichorn, and Hauschild on the same bill in an environment committee is quite the accomplishment. So great work on that. I go fishing each year on Lake of the Woods and get in those bombardiers, and I won't lie, it's a little creepy being in those big machines on the ice. And I just applaud law enforcement for what you guys do, representing, you know, some of the most lakes in my district. I know that we're dealing with this issue, especially this winter with the way the climate has been going. So, you know, I hope that we can get this across the finish line. I think it would be really great so that you guys can do what you need to do best. So thanks for what you do in saving people's lives.
Thank you. Yes, Senator Hoffman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Senator Ramsey, Senator Welk, thank you. Senator, like I'm running you some sheriffs. Thank you for your work. Sheriff Welk does all the stuff with the 48-hour, you know, the priorities placement stuff too. It's like you're multitasking down here. It's amazing. But Sheriff, St. Louis County, a dear family friend, Carter Nelson, talks about, he's part of your rescue whatever, and some of the rescue stories are just absolutely amazing. And this is one that is kind of scary, so I'm glad you guys are taking a forefront on this, and appreciate it's a good bill. And thanks for coming down to wonderful St. Paul. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other members? Any other comments? Okay. Yeah, I echo everybody's sentiments that we've heard so far. This is a great bill. Thanks also for the amendment and your thoughtfulness and making sure that we're not creating a problem by making people afraid to call for help when they need it. That's really important. So I appreciate the amendment and also just the common sense of, I mean, it's Minnesota. I don't know how this happened that we don't have it for ice rescue as well. So, yeah, bravo for this bill. And now that this amendment has been made, my understanding now, according to council, is that it does not have to go to the Judiciary Committee. That had been the path previous.
I serve on the Judiciary Committee, Madam Chair, and I'm very happy I don't have to go to Judiciary for a bill.
I hear you. Okay, so, well, with that, then the bill is just going to be laid over. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I will just say thanks again for hearing this. I, like you, am surprised this isn't something we've already done. I didn't even realize it's an issue because every year we hear about, you know, a local law enforcement department in northern Minnesota rescuing somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm just really surprised this hasn't come up before. So I'm thankful to Sheriff Welk for bringing this to us. And I saw it as an opportunity for the state to show just one little way that we can be a partner with our counties and our county sheriff's departments in the work that they do. There's not much else we can do because they're the on-the-ground folks, so in order to know that we've got their back on the financial front, I think is really important. And as you're well aware, a lot of our northern Minnesota counties have so much public land, whether it's state or federal land, they don't have the tax base that some of the other counties have. So to have this financial lever for our sheriff's departments is really important. So I appreciate the look at it and the discussion today.
Very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. With that, Senate File 3882, as amended, is laid over for possible inclusion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator, and thank you, testifiers. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon. With that, the Senate Environment, Climate, and Legacy Committee is adjourned.